All right, so I think we're going to get started now, if that's okay, since Yanko's going to steal like the last 5 minutes from us anyway. Thanks to everyone who signed in to come here and see Carmine and Quari, two of our wonderful alumni. They are both involved in journalism and newscasting, and they're going to speak to us a little bit about their experiences, both here at the high school, coming up through the schools, and then how they sort of ended up where they're at now, and where maybe where they're going to plan to go in the future. I'm really happy to be hosting. If you have questions, please put them in the chat, and when the gentlemen are finished sort of sharing their stories, I will facilitate asking the questions for you. Guys, when you're not presenting, if you see questions in the chat that you just want to respond to via writing, go for it, okay?
Got it.
Okay. How about it, gentlemen? Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, you wanna kick it off, Carmine, since you graduated first?
Sure. I'm the old timer here, is what that's code for. So no, thanks, Q. So yeah, I graduated OHS 2012. It was a great year. I think Kid Cudi was still popular, but anyway, so I graduated from OHS. Then I went to the University of Scranton in Pennsylvania, which is a small Division III college, only 4,000 kids. And I was the head of the newspaper and the TV station there for a couple years. Then I somehow got an internship at ESPN in Los Angeles, and all of a sudden, a month after graduating college, I was on the ESPY's red carpet, and I was talking to, if you guys know sports, DeAndre Jordan and Lisa Leslie. I was like, Lisa. I could hardly reach her. She's very tall. But so all of a sudden, I was into that environment and seeing these big stars and trying to learn. And then I spent 2 years behind the scenes at ESPN in Connecticut at their main campus, just behind the scenes, watching a sporting event per night and deciding what plays to choose, what theme, what belly dancing guy in the crowd to throw in there, to try to make it an entertaining highlight. And so I spent 2 years there, but just like Q also did, I always knew that I wanted to do something in front of the camera, not behind the camera, because I wanted to see if I could make it happen. See if you can, follow your dream and connect with people on a different level than passing off your work to somebody else behind the scenes and allowing them to present it. And Coach Casey knows from my basketball days that my dad would be in the stands, even since first grade, second grade, holding the camera and fully announcing the play-by-play, like calling the action as if he was, at a big-time NBA game. And a lot of parents probably thought he was weird, which he is weird. But he would have the rosters of both teams calling the game. So that made me think it was normal. And so then I left ESPN. People were like, why would you leave ESPN? Well, you have to. You're not going to look back 10 years later and be like, oh, man, I wonder if I did that, while you're looking at other people do the job that you always wanted. And so I went out to Wyoming, which you guys probably think of like Lil Nas X, Old Town Road. That's what Wyoming is. And it's kind of similar to that, I guess. It was in the middle of nowhere, but made an incredible connection with that community just by trying to make them happy and give them the sports coverage they wanted. And I was on camera and originally terrible, because it's so unnatural. Now a little less terrible a few years later. But spent 2 years there and had an incredible time, and we'll get into that more. But then for the past year, I've been in Medford, Oregon. So I went from 2,000 miles away from Ossining to 3,000 miles away from Ossining. And now doing the evening news out here with Sports Sometimes on Fridays. So that's kind of my little resume there.
Okay, Quari, you want to talk to us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Similar to Carmine, I graduated in 2015, so 3 years after. But a funny story, Carmine, I actually followed in his footsteps by going into journalism. So by seeing him do it, kind of led me down the path to say, I saw someone walk down these same halls who, had the similar interests as me, went through some of the same processes. And I was like, hey, that's something seems pretty cool. Seems like I could do. I like, I kind of have the gift of gab. I can talk well, speak well in front of others. So it was something that I kind of, pursued in my own career. So instead of going to a 4-year school right out of college, right out of high school, I went to a 2-year school, Herkimer Community College. Went up there, played basketball there, and majored in radio, TV, broadcast, and that's where I kind of honed my skills and kind of learned what the craft of journalism in the news world was. And then shortly after, transferred to Stony Brook University, played basketball there as well, and then majored in journalism, and was also the executive culture editor of the magazine there. Had a bunch of on-camera stuff that I did through my classes, extracurriculars, things like that. And then I graduated amid the craziness of the pandemic, similar to what you guys are going through now with all of this Zoom nonsense. It's crazy, but I was fortunate enough to be able to secure an internship at the Gothamist, which I don't know if some of you know if you read it at all. It's a New York City-based magazine website type of thing, and I worked there for about maybe 3-4 months, and then right after the George Floyd incident happened, there was actually a protest in Ossining, and News 12 happened to be out there. Where they were covering the event. I went out there with my camera. One of my former classmates asked me to come out because they knew I was in videography. Went out there with my camera and just started shooting, everything that was going on. And one of the reporters who was out there, who was actually a good colleague of mine now, Kara Wilkinson, happened to be there. And I just went up to her and just kind of took the initiative to say, hey, I just graduated. I'm looking for any internship, any opportunity that you have. Would you be able to help me out? And pretty much she kind of told me that they were on a hiring freeze at that point. So COVID was going on. It was the middle of July, I believe. And there was nothing happening. So she said, you know what, give us your resume, your email, your contact information, and we'll see if we can get back to you. And shortly, maybe about, I want to say August, the end of August, September, I got an email back from one of the photographers there who was like, hey, we checked out your stuff. I made my own website. I had all my reels and stuff, picked out. And they had me come in for an interview. Did the interview and secured the job the same day. And I've been at News 12 since October 15th. So you guys can see me on weekends. I'll be on air tomorrow. You guys can check me out bright and early in the morning for the 7 a.m. Newscast.
Well, Quari, that's where I saw you. I'm like, oh my God, it's just sitting in my car.
Yeah, man.
The world is just too small and too crazy. Amazing stuff. All right, sorry, go ahead.
So there are no questions in the chat yet. So I want to just ask you from your experiences here at OHS, what most prepared you for the field that you went into, and generally in life, like what most prepared you from your high school experience?
Q, you want to take this one since the old man jumped in the first time?
Oh, good one, man. We were actually talking about this last night, but really the diversity that was present in OHS for me was one of the things I think in life just kind of prepared me for. I always describe it as like similar to like a microcosm or micro scale of like what the world was. So I could go into the cafeteria, I could go into any of my classrooms and just see a sea of different people who were different from me, different identities, different backgrounds, classes, all types of things. And it was present there, but we all existed in that same space and we made it work. And we were all friends and we all got along. So when I got out to college, I started to realize people weren't equipped with those same skills. They didn't come from that same background. They went to schools where everybody looked like them or everybody had the same amount of money as their family. And I didn't have to. I could, talk to somebody whose parent was a doctor, and I could talk to somebody whose parents weren't well off financially, but we all kind of shared some type of commonality, and that was Oscar. And that was one of the things that prepared me to be able to, in my job every day, I talk to different people every day going through different situations, and I can sit down and empathize with them. I can understand them. I can talk their language. I can, show that I've walked where they walk and walk similar paths. So I think that was the thing. The diversity that existed in Ossining was one of the things that really prepared me for life after.
Yeah, I completely agree 100%. And that's another great reason about playing sports. you know, or whatever activity you guys might do, whether it's sports or give me the mic, which was another thing that brought so many people together, or art or theater or whatever it might be, or even just in school. I mean, you know, there's so much diversity. So I wanted to play a quick video that illustrates that preparedness that most people don't have. And I think Q and I took it for granted that, oh, we just grow up in Ossining, this is what it is. You know, we get to see Black people, Hispanic people, white people, all different races. And most schools don't have that. And a lot of colleges definitely don't have that. And as you can imagine, it wasn't very diverse in Casper, Wyoming. So I'll play you guys a quick video of, it was about, sorry, my cat is getting active. It was about a year and a half ago, or a little bit more. And we had a community college basketball team that got up to a top 10 ranked team in the country. But it's so interesting because you have an entire town that's all white people getting behind this community college basketball team, which is all Black 18 and 19-year-olds who are trying to make something of themselves on the court and academically. So I'll just show you, this is not your standard interview. I'll just preface it because I made this relationship because of the skills, social skills really, and just being able to understand where other people are coming from because of Ossining, that I was able to handle this interview, maybe not that well, but at least get through it with a couple of these characters. And I'll show you that here right now. The Casper College T-Birds. Here we go. Good evening, everyone. I'm Carmine Gerrity-Gemei, live at Casper College, getting set for the Casper College men against the Eastern Wyoming men. We actually got the women playing right now. Casper's ahead in a 1-point game, big-time Region 9 action, but we're burying the lead because I'm sitting with Benny Fungula, Kieran Goodwin, Jalen Harris, and Benny is kind of the drip king on the team. If you don't know what that means style, swag, finesse. So he's sitting here with his heart-shaped necklace, eating carrots. I'm not sure why. I hope you can still talk, Benny.
I'll break my chain. You know what I'm saying?
So if you can't understand him, it's because he's getting his vitamins and minerals in. But we want to break down Kieran's outfit because it's Military Appreciation Night. So what do you see here, Benny?
You know what I mean? We got some like this. I don't know how much that costs, like $200. Like my chain. Right here, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let's go down to these socks. Everything's matching. Yeah. Like my shoes. Yeah. You know what I mean? And let's show some love to Jalen right here. You see that? Drip, all drip, swaggy, stylish. You matching that red J's on, matching that red, black, and white. Red, black, and white like here. Red, black, and then white. Drip.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. And I hope those go down smoothly before the game. All right, bro. Thank you. We should have checked that before we got him on. Key, let's get back in here. So Kieran just got broken down. Now we got Jalen Harris. Now, Jay, I consider you one of the best defenders in Region 9. Isaac Bonton, leading scorer, 20 a game. Yes, sir. And you're always practicing against him in practice. What's the mentality when you're trying to shut down guys like tonight against Eastern?
The mentality is just not to let them score. You know what I mean? Defense wins championships, so whenever I get in somebody, I'm just trying to make sure they don't score and kind of, you know, dictate the pace of the game.
And Key, you're more of a shooting guy. You play a little defense as well. But what are the keys to getting your third win this year against Eastern? You're already 2-0 against them.
We got to lock in as a team. Keep playing hard, run the transition, do what we do, and we'll get the win.
And Jay, I don't want to bring it on too soon, but in 2 weekends, number 8 Sheridan's coming here. You guys are number 10 right now. You guys lost by 10 against them, but how do you keep that going to try to beat them in that big game?
You know, as of right now, we're just taking one game at a time. So, like, tonight we're focused on Eastern, and then this Saturday we're focused on the next game. And then when we get to Sheridan, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
All right, my man. Jalen Harris, appreciate it, bro. He's got the 8s on. Kieran Goodwin, one of the drippiest on the team. Benny, thanks for the analysis, bro. He's still eating the carrots, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me, Benny. No, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
We're going crazy today. The outfits today are the dress code red, black, and white. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.
Benny is planning on doing a K2 internship after the season as well. So in other news, we'll be right back after the break. So as you could tell, that wasn't your normal sideline interview. But, you know, there's no way to prepare for a guy eating carrots before an interview. So, but that's just to illustrate the skills that you get at Ossining High School, and just to say that you guys are probably way more equipped to handle different life situations or different career fields, or you know, one of the most important skills in any field is people skills. And look at Quari. I mean, he wouldn't have gotten his job if he didn't have the people skills to go up to an old person who he used to know and say, "Hey, just keep me in your mind. You know, I'm a motivated guy. I have things to show." And then in the interview, of course, you could tell when he gets in there, he's going to blow him away because he's prepared for it because of Ossining High School, the environment we grew up in, and you guys are continuing to grow up in, and just knowing like how to honestly express yourself to other people, because the way you talk to one person from a different culture, from a different group, from a different town, you're of course going to have to adapt that to a different group of people, you know, who might have different beliefs or come from a different upbringing. So if I was interviewing kids at Briarcliff High School, it wouldn't have been the same vibe as interviewing the Casper College T-Birds, who were talking about the drip and heartbreak my chain and all that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess I got to handle this. But, you know, in a good way, just being able to embrace it because of all the experiences that we've had at Ossining. And I was like, after that interview, I'm like, oh my gosh, we got hardly any information. What even was that? I'm like, oh boy. And my news director texted me. He's like, that's the best thing I've seen on our station in a year. And I'm like, what are you talking? Because it was the person to person connection. We were just having fun talking about sports and fashion and you know, a lot of things that Q does on the podcast is just relating your life to my life, having some smiles, and hopefully having that rub off on other people.
Yeah, I wanted to, you said something that I had in my notes here, just that Quari went up to somebody to, you know, to put himself out there, and he ended up, you know, he didn't let it get him down. You know, Quari, you didn't let it get you down, that she said we're in a freeze. And I know, just listening to both of you and, you know, catching up with you a little bit last night and seeing your performances now, you know, now in life, I want the kids who are watching to really take in the fact that, like, it's about confidence. You know, it's about, you know, embracing whoever's in front of you and letting them see you for who you are fully. And clearly both of you are so comfortable in your own skin with that. And I think that's why, you know, you've made it as far as you have, and you're going to continue. And Carmine, I really appreciated what you said about like all the different activities. So I wanted to just ask you both, what activities did you know, obviously basketball, shout out to Mr. Casey and Coach Casey, and what else?
So the activities for me, I think Carmine mentioned as well, like being super involved in college, those were the things that, you know, again, everybody's not going to go into a field like journalism where they have a radio station or a newspaper, but certain things like clubs, if you're, you know, you want to go into medicine or you want to go be a lawyer, there's different clubs on campus in different communities that you can go to, you know, talk to like-minded people. And at the end of the day, that's really what it is getting around people who kind of share those same goals, have the same kind of aspirations, and you kind of push each other to kind of excel towards those. And those are some of the things that I leaned into. Carmine also mentioned the podcast that I started right before the pandemic. So right before I graduated in January, I knew from watching Carmine, he actually had a show. I don't even know if he knows I know this, but he had a show that he did at Scranton where he would interview one of the college athletes and then take them on in their respective sport. And I used to watch those and be like, I want to do something exactly like that. And, you know, I knew, okay, I may not have the resources to, you know, take on one of the, the swimmers and what they do, but I could sit down and have a conversation with him. And the first person I interviewed was my basketball coach at Stony Brook, and we had a great conversation. And that from there, that kind of gave me the confidence and planted the seed, like, oh, I could, continually do this. So I did one with another rapper that I had who has a really big following, another guy after that, and I've continued on now, and I'm, I think, 6 episodes in, preparing to go for a couple more. But like things like that, with taking initiative and showing people like, hey, this is what I produced, and I didn't have any backing. It's all me. I'm doing it by myself. People are like, wow, you really kind of stepped out and did that on your own with no help. That shows a manager. That shows anywhere you go want to work. Like, this kid has some drive. This person really wants to make it in life. They want to go somewhere, and they're not going to allow anything to stop them. So those are the things that, for me, that were big.
That's great. That is great. I think building off the thing that you just said, Q, as far as the willingness to try stuff, because if you try it and it doesn't work, a lot of, like, if you take an internship, let's say you might be interested in the newspaper, which I thought I was, and I find out this is kind of cool, but at the same time, I don't really want to do this. So you learn a lot from going out and trying something and not liking it also, because then you figure, oh, okay, that was cool. I appreciate the experience that I got there. I learned some things from it, but I don't want to do that, for the long haul. But we were talking about the confidence in any profession that is really important. But I think it's more the confidence to put yourself out there and try it, rather than, I don't want it to be confused with the confidence that you get out there and all of a sudden you're wheeling and dealing and your quarry coming out of the butcher shop talking about this place has the best chopped cheese in New York City. It doesn't always, start like that. You can't just get smooth like that overnight. You start by going out to Wyoming. If you're me and you're standing in front of the camera, good evening, I'm Carmine Gerrity-Gemei. And it's like, what are you hosting, like 60 Minutes? But it's like a sports thing. You want to be excited. So the point is I was terrible, but I had the confidence to try it. And once you put yourself out there to try it, which you guys are going to have to do, and hopefully want to do, then that's when you develop the skills. They come next. But the willingness to try stuff and put yourself out there and say, guess what? If I don't do this exactly right 100%, it's okay, because I'm going to work to learn. I'm going to work to improve at it. And I think that's a great life skill that you need to have if you want to be successful in your next step.
I love
guys, Ms. Oach, can I cut in real fast?
Hold on, I just want to point out, Quari, I love what you put in the chat. Don't be afraid to fill out.
Yeah, please.
Great point. And we know Japhis, of course, it would not be a meet with Japhis if he didn't have a question about money.
Yeah, just keep talking, Miss Oach. Or you know what? Mute so I can talk. Guys, I heard you guys both had a really terrific personal finance teacher, and I heard he was really good looking too. Can you guys talk a couple minutes about money, all kidding aside? And do you have college debt? And is there money to be made in your field at the local level? And then maybe if you go a lot further. And then after that, we want to give you guys some other time.
You want to? Yeah, I guess, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, for me, I definitely think, again, Japhis planting that seed of a Roth IRA in my mind. I kept that in my mind for you guys, really super important if you guys don't, have a 401k plan when you get to where you're going, or, retirement plan or pension plan, anything like that. Honestly, didn't leave school. I left school with no debt, actually, and me going to a 2-year school actually helped out in that. So don't be afraid, if all your friends, or because I was in the same position, Miss Reddington actually knows, I was in her class on college career or college choice day, where everybody had their sweaters on, and they're like, oh, I'm going to Harvard, and I'm going to North Carolina State, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to a 2-year school upstate, and I'm gonna have no debt, and I'm gonna walk out of there and be cool, and I'm gonna transfer. So don't be afraid if that's your path, because at the end of the day, you'll end up where you're supposed to end up. Things work how they're supposed to work out. And when you get into your profession, again, I'm only 6 months into mine, so haven't made a ton of money at all by no means. But I am making decent money to be able to, sustain my lifestyle and, be a regular 24-year-old guy. But definitely save everything that you can. That's definitely my advice right now. And I'm still learning money myself. So I'm gonna pass off to Carmine, who's actually been in this for a little longer than I have.
Yeah, guys, retirement's right around the corner. For you guys, it's only about.
You got muted, Carmine. You muted yourself.
I just delivered such a great joke. It's so sad. No, just kidding. No, I was just saying, I was joking about retirement being right around the corner because, it's only 40 to 60 years off for everybody here. But no, it is really important to save because you guys will find out the compound interest, Jaffis. I'm sure he loves that. The interest that builds up over time if you're putting your money away in a 401k or Roth IRA account, which, this all probably doesn't mean anything right now, but basically you save away money, and it builds up for you over time because of the interest, the percentage that you get on your money. And so, but pretty much just live within your means to start off is important right now for you guys. You don't need the Gucci belt, you don't need to have the newest clothes and the newest, I was driving up until a year ago, I was driving a 1993 Pontiac Bonneville that I bought for $900. But guess what? I sold that for $900 because it didn't depreciate. None of that value came off. So I didn't whip it off the lot in the brand new Hummer EV that's coming out for 130 grand in a couple years that LeBron is sponsoring. But so what I'm saying is just be humble. And if you do it for the money, you're never going to be happy. I mean, I don't think, like when I was at ESPN, I just got a promotion. I was going to make about $45,000 a year, not counting overtime. And I'm like, wow, I'm in the money now. Oh boy. I was like, forget this Pontiac Bonneville. I was like, Bentley. And, but then I ended up taking a job in Casper, Wyoming, following my dream for $19,000 a year, no overtime. So I took a 2.5 times pay cut to follow my dream, but I was way happier in Casper, Wyoming, doing what I loved, making a connection with the community than I was at ESPN, which people thought was cool, making $45,000 a year, probably close to 60 with overtime. And then guess what? 2 years later, now I'm making $50,000 a year in the field that I wanted to do. So I took a 2-year diversion money-wise to, then come back 2 years later. Now I'm in Medford, Oregon, making the same money, not to, and it's not a lot of money, but it's enough money, like Q said, to live within your means. And then like Quari was saying, make that smart college decision. My girlfriend went to the University of Alabama because she wanted to watch a great football team. She's paying for season tickets basically now because of the money she owes in student debt. So she came out of there with like $100 grand of student debt. I'm like, why did you? She's like, Nick Saban, roll tide. I'm like, roll cash right back into the pockets of whatever bank you loaned it from. So I'm like, go like what Q said, go to a community college if you want to, go to a state school. If you're in a situation where you worked your butt off like you guys are right now to get a scholarship, to get some type of money, that's what you do it for. You save your parents' money. You save yourself student loan money. And so just make that smart decision. You don't need to go somewhere you can watch the Tide on TV. You can be a great fan, but you don't need to go there, for silly reasons. So kind of just think about what's good for your financial plan. You don't want that student debt hanging over you if you can avoid it. So, and you can do that just based on your academic performance and your effort, along with choosing a state school, or if your parent is a teacher at a school, working that out. But yeah, that's a great piece of advice you guys can take right now into your lives.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate your input. Miss Och, back to you.
Okay, so just looking in the chat, I don't know if you guys are keeping up with it, but I wanted to let you both know that like all of the comments are just talking about what amazing young men you are, who you've grown into, makes all of us who've known you here so proud. And like I literally feel like I want to just walk out of the building now, because Ms. Moran said that this was the highlight of her week. This was the highlight of my month. I feel like, wow, we did it, guys, like to the teachers, good job. And so thank you both. I know that Mr. Yonkler is going to put you on the spot now, but I can't thank you enough. Looking forward. One thing I would ask is, if you guys don't mind, any way that we can like follow you, whether it's you know, a podcast, your TV station, where we could find you on the web or whatever, if you wouldn't mind just putting that in the chat. I see a lot of my students are in here, and we are going to do a final project at the end of the year, and I'd love to use the work that you guys are doing now in your lives. So if you don't mind putting that in the chat for us, that would be great. You're amazing, and just looking forward to watching your careers totally take off. Take good care.
Thank you so much, Ms. Oaks.
Much love, Quari.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll hop in now. Thanks, Miss Och, for running this. It was fantastic. And thank you, Q and Carmine, for sharing and dropping those words of wisdom for everybody. But I think, you know, I think people are curious. You know, you're going to drop some of your links and how to follow you and stuff in there. But this is an immediate generation. They want to see now, what do you guys do, right? So I asked, I put in the chat box here just now, I asked Q and Carmine to choose 5 words or phrases. I asked them to choose an emotion, a TV show, an animal, and make that animal plural, part of a school, building, or campus, and I asked them a skill they learned or need in their careers. So you both sent me those words, and I inserted those words into a story that I had made that had a few blank spots in it that you will fill in. So if you check your email now, you will see that you got an email from me. And can you confirm that you received the email, but you have not seen it before? Can we confirm that?
They're not on trial, Yonkler.
I'd like to call a witness to the stand. No, hold on.
I just want to make sure you have the email. You've got it. It's up. And we're going to do a little breaking news here. So this is breaking news.
I'm going first.
Yeah, so Carmine, the first paragraph is for you, and then Q, the second paragraph is for you, and we've inserted your words into the story. Can I get a thumbs up from you guys that you see the email, you're ready to go? All right, so we're going to do a little...
See the email.
Yeah, we're going to do a little breaking news here. So, breaking news. So whenever I'm going to do that, Carmine, and then it's going to be for you, and you're going to cut to you for the breaking news. We got it?
Okay, I'll be ready.
All right. So here we go. We have breaking news.
Yes. Breaking news here into Ossining, New York studios. Hello, my name's Carmine Gerrity-Gemei, and welcome to the National Utterly Repulsed News Network. We interrupt SpongeBob to bring you breaking news from the tiny hamlet of Ossining, New York. Live on the scene to tell us more about it is Quari Alleyne, who's fresh off his work covering the group of elephants who were loose in the Michigan State Gymnasium, and you'll all remember that one. It was a wild scene. Let's send it down to Quari live, who always demonstrates tremendous leadership. Quari?
Yeah, thank you, Carmine. It's really quite a happy scene here at Ossining High School, where this story is playing out much like an episode of Seinfeld. The school board has been discussing changing their controversial pride mascot to become the Ossining Polar Bears. Students, teachers, and the community have come together to voice their displeasure outside of the OHS gym, and neither side seems to be willing to budge. It will definitely take some confidence from both sides to resolve this intense dispute. We'll have more updates as this story prolongs. Live from Ossining, New York, I'm Quari Alleyne.
Well done. That was awesome. Just wanted to give the people here a little taste of what that is. Is that hard for you guys when you have like breaking news like that? Is it hard? I always think having people like talking in your ear while you're talking also might be a challenge. Maybe you could end with like just a little bit about like what you do all the time, and the struggles, the challenges, and also what you love about what you do.
Yeah, Q is more of a, since he's reporting now, he's more of a off the cuff kind of guy.
Yeah.
But for me, I usually rely on the teleprompter, the words in the camera. But it's something that you develop over time, and it's the confidence to just try it. And then, we did a sports show, we did a football show where all of the reads were cold, and I didn't have any script for one of the highlights. And but I'm like, oh, we'll make it work, and it's because of a few years of doing it. But we didn't have any time to write anything down beforehand. And just a quick thing before Q jumps in, because I know Yonkler and Mr. Jaffis wanted me to mention this. After 2 years in Casper, Wyoming, on my last day, down comes a stream of cars, and it was a 50-person parade to say goodbye. And I thought it was a quarantine thing, keep the spirits high. We're going to parade around and show our support for everybody being locked up. But everybody starts handing me stuff, and it was a parade to see me off to the next stop. And but that's just to illustrate the connections you can make, like Q was talking about, when you put yourself out there. And I adopted rodeo. Yeah, I didn't know anything about rodeo. And I said, well, these people love rodeo. We're going to give them the best rodeo coverage that they've ever seen. And we're going to cover this little Casper College basketball because that's what the people want. But the OHS experience allowed me to notice that and harness it and say, this is what you guys want to talk about. I don't know anything about it, but let's make you happy. And that could be for you guys in your career, or Miss Moran, Coach Casey, players and students years later writing in emails, geez, man, I really appreciated the influence you had on me. Or Mr. Jaffis, 20 years down the road, now my finances are set up for my family because of what you taught me. So just because it's not a parade, which is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, you can have your own personal parade from connections that you guys make in the future through your career and through the personal side. But yeah, Q, the on-the-spot stuff is pretty tough.
Yeah, I could definitely talk to that. I've actually, and I'm not going to go find it now to show you guys, but it's out there. My first live to tape, I was actually live reporting outside of a church where I'm not sure if everybody remembers, there were a couple kids who passed away in a car crash in Yonkers not too long ago. And I'm out there reporting, and I have my live on. It's a really emotional story, and I have my script written on my phone, so that's the only thing I'm relying on. But I have to look at the camera, so the phone is only there to, if I look down for a quick second. And I get through everything flawlessly. And again, emotional story. At the very end, the easiest tag out is, follow, stay tuned to news12.com for more updates. That was the part I flubbed, like completely flubbed, messed up, jumbled over my words, and what should have been like a 3-second closeout turned into like 10 seconds because I couldn't get my words together, nerves, all of that stuff. But I say that to say the next time I did it, and the next time I did it, and the next time I did it, I didn't have those mess ups. But I couldn't have those next times to go well if I didn't mess up the first time. And I wasn't afraid of it after it happened. I'm like, damn it, you know what? I messed up, texted my mom, texted my editors. Everybody was like, it wasn't that bad. So in your mind, your failures may seem like the end of the world. You might fail Miss Reddington test, Miss Osh's test. They might give you a F on a test. You might not have passed. But the next one, you have a chance to come back. You might be with Coach Casey. You might airball 2 free throws, which should never happen. But you come back and you knock down the next 2. So you can't be afraid to take those chances. You can't be afraid to take risks. You can't be afraid to put yourself out there because you never know what's on the other side. So that's for me is like the biggest thing. Don't be afraid of failing because it's necessary. You have to take those steps in the process to get to where you want to go. So.
I couldn't think of a better way to end this. Thank you, boys. You gentlemen, so much. Really appreciate you both coming. Really appreciate everything you've become. Like I said, I'm sure we're all going to be keeping our eyes open and our ears to the ground to see where you guys head, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. Good luck, guys. Good luck out there.